Have you ever wondered how people can pretend to be your friend and still bring nothing but harm into your life? You think they have your best interests at heart, but everything they do only leads to hurt and confusion. Sometimes the enemy isn't out there, it's right next to you. It's in the people you trust, the ones you think have your back. It's important to raise awareness of harmful individuals and the subtle signs of toxic behavior. These people aren't always obvious villains. Sometimes they wear the face of a friend, a family member, or someone you think you can rely on. The real danger lies in their ability to subtly manipulate your reality, control your actions, and undermine your well-being. By the end of this speech, you'll understand how to recognize these individuals and protect yourself from their toxicity. We will dive into the 5 key signs to look for, and by doing so, empower you to take control of your life and relationships. Before we dive into the signs, let's first understand the subtle power these people have over your life. How many times have you felt like you were being pushed in a direction that didn't feel right, yet couldn't pinpoint exactly why? You may have felt confused, overwhelmed, or trapped without understanding why. Manipulation is the art of making you believe that you need someone to be happy or successful, when in reality, it's them using you for their gain. Manipulators use emotional tactics, guilt, and charm to control others. They know how to exploit your weaknesses and desires, pulling you in with just the right words or actions. They weave a web of lies so fine that you never see the trap until you're stuck in it. By the time you realize what's happening, you've already made decisions you didn't truly want to make. The feeling of being trapped in their grasp often comes with deep regret and self-doubt. Think about the people who have made you feel powerless. What decisions have you made under pressure? Reflect on those moments and ask yourself, were those decisions truly your own? If you don't control this, it will control you. Your time is precious, and the right people will never make you feel trapped. Have you ever caught someone in a lie only for them to spin another story and another until you can't trust anything they say? Deceit is not just about lying, it's about creating a false reality to make you doubt the truth. Liars thrive on confusion, using their words to manipulate your perception of reality. With every new lie, they plant a seed of doubt in your mind, making you question what's real. Lying isn't just about evading the truth, it's a deliberate attempt to control your thinking. When you're constantly bombarded with conflicting stories, it's like being in a fog so thick you can't see the truth right in front of you. Lies are the fog, and clarity is the sunlight. When clarity is hidden by deceit, your ability to trust your instincts diminishes. Examine your relationships. Are the people in your life telling you what you want to hear or what you need to hear? Lies only serve to create confusion and distance, and they will erode trust over time. The truth will always find its way to the surface, but only if you make the effort to uncover it. Don't let anyone steal your clarity. Protect your peace by demanding honesty, even when it's uncomfortable. How often have you been put down by someone only to be told, it's just a joke, or I was just being honest? Criticism that tears you down is not constructive, it's poison disguised as care. People who thrive on negative energy will constantly belittle others to elevate their own sense of power. They might claim that their criticism is for your own good, but in reality it's a tactic to make you feel smaller and weaker. Criticism is the weapon of the weak. It's how they lift themselves up by bringing others down. They may disguise it as advice or constructive feedback, but at its core it's about making you feel less than. When you're constantly belittled, your confidence takes a hit. Over time, you begin to doubt your worth and abilities. The real damage isn't in their words, it's in the effect it has on your self-esteem. Recognize when someone crosses the line. A relationship should build you up, not tear you down. Stand tall, even when they try to make you shrink. Don't let their words define your worth. You are not what they say you are. You are what you decide to be. Your strength comes from within, and no one should be allowed to steal that. Have you ever opened up to someone only to find that your vulnerability was used against you later on? True evil sees your vulnerability as an opportunity, not a part of you to protect. They will use your pain as their gain, taking what you've shared and twisting it to control your actions or manipulate your emotions. They thrive on exploiting your weaknesses, knowing that your openness makes you more susceptible to their influence. Your weaknesses are not liabilities unless you allow others to treat them as such. Think of your heart as a treasure chest. Don't let them pick the lock. When you open up to someone, you're trusting them with a piece of yourself. That trust is sacred. When someone exploits that trust, it's not just a betrayal, it's an act of manipulation. You must learn to protect your vulnerabilities while still remaining open to genuine connections. Take control of your vulnerabilities. Don't let them become your weakness. Learn to identify when someone is using your openness to exploit you. The strength to protect yourself doesn't lie in hiding your weaknesses, but in owning them. You control the narrative of your life, and no one should be able to dictate your emotions or actions. Have you ever noticed how someone who wronged you never seems to apologize or take responsibility? Evil never admits fault. It deflects blame, hides behind excuses, and manipulates others into accepting the consequences of its actions. They're masters of deflection, always quick to point the finger at someone else, never willing to own their mistakes. This lack of accountability is a core trait of toxic people. They are like shadows in the dark, always shifting and never seen clearly. But if you shine a light on their actions, the truth becomes undeniable. When they refuse to take responsibility,
it's not just an avoidance of guilt, it's a tactic to maintain control. If they never admit their wrongdoings, they can continue to manipulate and dominate without consequence. If someone refuses to own their actions, let that be your signal to step away. Don't carry the weight of their mistakes. Holding yourself accountable is the mark of strength. If they can't do that, don't let them keep you in their web of excuses. Take back control and refuse to be a part of their narrative. The refusal to take responsibility is a form of control, and you don't need to carry that weight. Recognizing these signs is only the first step. Now that you know how to spot an evil person in your life, it's time to protect your peace. No one gets to steal your energy. If they've been manipulating, deceiving, criticizing, exploiting, or avoiding accountability, it's time to take action. These people are toxic to your well-being, and it's essential to set boundaries to protect yourself. It's not enough to just recognize the signs, you must act on them. Take control of your life and your relationships. The power to protect your peace is in your hands. When you recognize toxic behaviors, step away and reclaim your energy. Surround yourself with people who support you, respect you, and build you up. The world is full of beautiful, supportive people. Choose to surround yourself with them. Protect yourself, your energy, and your dreams. Don't let the toxic ones dictate your story. Own it. How many times have you felt like you were being pushed in a direction that didn't feel right, yet couldn't pinpoint exactly why? Maybe you felt uneasy, but something inside you couldn't quite put the situation into words. You've been there before, unsure of what was happening, but deeply uncomfortable with where it was leading you. Often this sensation comes from a subtle force of manipulation. It's not always obvious, but the pressure is real, and it's there, pulling you away from what feels right for you. Manipulation is the art of making you believe that you need someone to be happy or successful, when in reality, it's them using you for their own gain. Manipulators are masters of disguise, and they know exactly how to make you question your instincts. They plant the seed of doubt, and from that moment, they begin to exert their influence. They want you to think that your happiness or success is tied to them, and that without them, you're incomplete. It can start with a small comment, a casual suggestion, or a well-placed guilt trip. They manipulate through emotions, making you feel responsible for their well-being or worse, for their unhappiness. By doing so, they slowly make you question yourself, your actions, and your worth. A manipulator uses charm to win you over, to gain your trust. They might seem kind, understanding, or supportive, but this is just a tactic, a means to an end. They rely on the bond you create with them to continue their influence over you. The key to manipulation is dependency. The manipulator doesn't want you to feel empowered or independent. They want you to feel like you need them. When they get inside your head and alter your decision-making process, they have control. And before you know it, you're questioning your thoughts, your choices, and your emotions. In reality, this behavior is designed to keep you from seeing things clearly so they can continue pulling the strings. Manipulators use emotional tactics like guilt, charm, and even fear to control others. They know how to push your buttons, how to make you feel responsible for things that are not your fault. They don't stop there. They gaslight you, turning situations around and making you question whether you're being irrational. It's not just about getting you to do what they want. It's about planting that seed of doubt in your mind so you question your own instincts. Over time, this leads to a loss of confidence and a growing dependence on their validation. They can do this in all kinds of relationships, whether personal, professional, or social. In friendships, they might play on your empathy, making you feel guilty for needing space. In a workplace, they could use their power to make you feel obligated to take on tasks that aren't yours to carry. The goal is always the same: to weaken your boundaries, to make you question your own worth, and ultimately to make you rely on them for validation and direction. Think about the people in your life who made you feel powerless. What decisions have you made under pressure? Have you ever found yourself agreeing to something that didn't feel right, only to later regret it? Reflecting on these situations will help you recognize the signs of manipulation, not just in others, but within yourself too. We all fall prey to these tactics at times. It's part of being human. But once you understand how manipulation works, you can break free from its grip. Being manipulated isn't a reflection of your weakness, it's a warning sign. A red flag that the person in question doesn't have your best interests at heart. This is about taking your power back. Your time, your energy, and your decisions are yours to own. And the right people, the ones who truly care about you, will never try to manipulate you into feeling weak or confused. They will lift you up, empower you, and support your growth. Recognizing manipulation is the first step toward reclaiming your life, your peace, and your confidence. Have you ever caught someone in a lie only for them to spin another story and another until you can't trust anything they say? Think about that feeling for a moment: the frustration, the confusion, the sinking realization that everything they've said could be a lie, and the more they talk, the harder it is to know what's true. This is the reality of consistent deception. It's not just about one lie, it's about creating a pattern of falsehoods that erode your trust and ultimately your peace of mind. Deceit is not just about lying, it's about creating a false reality to make you doubt the truth. Manipulators don't just tell lies, they build entire webs of lies around you, making you question your own experiences, your own beliefs, and even your own reality. They aim to confuse you, to distort what you know to be true, until you start questioning your judgment and your perception of the world. And in doing so, they gain control over your thoughts, your actions, and your very sense of self. It's a subtle, insidious process where the victim becomes unsure of everything, including themselves. This manipulation takes a psychological toll. It's not just about deceiving someone, it's about slowly unraveling their sense of clarity, making them rely on the manipulator's version of events. Over time, the victim starts questioning whether they're being too sensitive, too paranoid, or just imagining things. They second-guess their own feelings, their decisions, and their ability to see the truth. The more the manipulator lies, the more confused and insecure the victim becomes, and the deeper the manipulator's control grows. This dynamic leaves the victim feeling powerless, uncertain, and disconnected from their own intuition. It's like being in a fog so thick you can't see the truth right in front of you. Lies are the fog, and clarity is the sunlight. The more lies they spin, the harder it becomes to see clearly. You're left wandering through confusion, uncertain of which path to take, unable to trust your own judgment. But when the fog lifts, when the truth is revealed, it's like a light shining through the darkness, exposing everything for what it is. Suddenly, the clarity you've been seeking is right in front of you. Let me share an example. Imagine a relationship, a friendship perhaps, where trust is built over time. Everything seems fine until the lies begin. First, it's a small untruth, then another and another. Each time the victim dismisses it, thinking it's a one-time thing. But over time, the lies add up, and the trust begins to erode. Decisions are made based on these lies, choices that affect the victim's personal life, their career, and their happiness. They're left questioning their decisions, their worth, and whether they were ever told the truth in the first place. The emotional toll is real. What starts as a small crack in trust turns into a chasm, one that's difficult to cross. The victim is left feeling lost, confused, and questioning everything they once knew to be true. So, ask yourself, are the people in your life telling you what you want to hear or what you need to hear? Or it's time to take an honest look at the relationships around you. Are you settling for lies because they make you feel comfortable, or are you ready to face the truth, no matter how painful it may be? The people you trust should be the ones who speak the truth even when it's uncomfortable. Don't let someone manipulate your perception just to make you feel good in the moment. True relationships are built on honesty, not on false promises or illusion. The truth will always find its way to the surface, but only if you make the effort to uncover it. Don't let anyone steal your clarity. The fog may be thick, but the truth will shine through. Don't let lies cloud your perception of yourself or your life. Trust your instincts and don't let anyone make you doubt your own judgment. You have the power to uncover the truth and regain control over your life. Stand firm in your beliefs and never let anyone distort your reality. You have the strength to see through the fog and emerge with a clearer sense of self and purpose. How often have you been put down by someone only to be told it's just a joke? Or, I was just being honest. Think about those moments when someone masked their criticism as humor or a well-meaning comment. How did it make you feel? Did it hurt even though they dismissed it as harmless? When people use those words, they make it seem like your feelings shouldn't matter, that you should just brush it off. But deep down, you know the truth. It stings. It makes you question yourself, your value, and your place in the world. These situations may seem trivial, but they have a profound impact on your self-worth and emotional well-being. It's time to recognize this behavior for what it is, a manipulation tactic, a way to control and diminish your spirit. Criticism that tears you down is not constructive, it's poison disguised as care. When someone criticizes you in a way that diminishes your confidence, it isn't about helping you grow. It's about them making themselves feel better at your expense. True constructive criticism is meant to uplift, to guide you toward improvement. It's not meant to make you feel worthless or small. Malicious criticism, on the other hand, aims to break you down. It's a tool for control, a way for others to boost their own ego by trampling on yours. The most toxic people will disguise this as concern or honesty, but the truth is, they thrive on making others feel inferior. People who thrive on negative energy will constantly belittle others to elevate their own sense of power. The harsh reality is that these people are not secure in themselves. They are insecure, and they find strength in putting others down. Criticism becomes their weapon of choice. They use it to manipulate, to control, and to make themselves feel superior. This is not about helping you grow, it's about keeping you down. The more they criticize, the more they feel in control, and you're left feeling helpless, confused, and drained. But let me tell you something, this kind of behavior says more about them than it does about you. It's a reflection of their deep-rooted insecurities and emotional weakness.
Criticism is the weapon of the weak. It's how they lift themselves up by bringing others down. Think about it. Strong people don't need to put others down to feel good about themselves, but the weak, they rely on tearing others apart to fill the void within themselves. This behavior damages the person being criticized, and it poisons the relationship. It's like being stuck in a toxic loop where each cycle makes you question your worth and abilities. You start to feel as though you're always at fault, always falling short, and as this cycle continues, it becomes harder and harder to believe in yourself. The more you're criticized, the more you're made to feel inadequate. But let me tell you this, you are not defined by the hurtful words they say. Your worth is not determined by their attempts to tear you down. Imagine someone in your life, someone you care about, who constantly belittles you. At first you might have brushed it off, thinking it was just a bad day or a misunderstanding, but the belittling continues. Comments about your appearance, your choices, your abilities, it becomes a regular part of your life, and with each comment, you begin to feel smaller, less capable. Over time, your self-esteem takes a hit. You doubt yourself, question your decisions, and start to wonder if you're not good enough. And the worst part, it's not just your confidence that's affected, it's the relationship itself. What starts as a small crack in trust grows into a gaping hole, and before you know it, you're questioning everything, even your worth as a person. But here's the key, this is not your fault. You are not what they say you are what you decide to be. You have the power to change this narrative. You have the power to break free. Recognize when someone crosses the line. A relationship should build you up, not tear you down. Stand tall, even when they try to make you shrink. You are worthy of respect and love, not criticism disguised as care. It's time to stop allowing toxic people to dominate your life with their hurtful words. You have the strength to set boundaries, to push back against disrespect, and to protect your peace. Don't let anyone make you feel less than what you are. When people criticize you with the intention of bringing you down, it's time to walk away, step back, and reevaluate the relationship. True love, true friendship, and true respect are built on support, not degradation. Don't let their words define your worth. You are not what they say you are. You are what you decide to be. You get to choose how you see yourself. You get to decide what you believe about your abilities, your value, and your potential. The toxic people in your life do not have that power. Only you do. It's time to reclaim that power, to stand up for yourself, and to protect your self-worth. Let them say what they want, but know deep in your heart that their words do not define you. You are capable. You are worthy. You are enough. And from this moment forward, you will no longer allow anyone to strip you of that truth. So I challenge you today, don't let anyone's criticism shape who you are. Let your own belief in yourself define your path. Stand strong in your worth, even when others try to tear you down. The power to shape your self-image is in your hands. And once you take control of that, nothing will be able to hold you back. You are unstoppable when you believe in yourself. Have you ever opened up to someone only to find that your vulnerability was used against you later on? Think about that feeling. The moment you shared something personal, something raw, and then not long after that very information was used to hurt you, it's a painful realization. It makes you question whether being open was a mistake. And let me tell you, it wasn't a mistake. The mistake was trusting the wrong person, someone who saw your vulnerability not as a bond, but as a weapon. This is how manipulators operate. They take what you've entrusted them with and turn it into their power. They exploit the very parts of you that make you human, and in doing so, they gain control over you. This isn't just a betrayal, it's an abuse of trust. It's time to take a closer look at how people exploit weaknesses and vulnerabilities and to understand the signs before it's too late. True evil sees your vulnerability as an opportunity, not a part of you to protect. They will use your pain as their gain. This is the essence of manipulation. Vulnerability is a powerful force. It can foster connection, trust, and understanding. But in the hands of someone with malicious intent, it becomes a tool of control. These people thrive on feeding off your insecurities, your struggles, and your deepest fears. What should be a source of strength, your openness, your ability to trust, is twisted into a weapon to control and dominate your decision. It's parasitic in nature. They feed on your pain to fuel their own gain. They use your raw honesty against you, making you question your judgment and ultimately your worth. But here's the truth. Your vulnerabilities are part of your power. Don't let someone else turn them into your weakness. Some people thrive on exploiting others' weaknesses to manipulate or control their actions. These individuals are skilled at finding your soft spots, the things you fear, the areas where you feel insecure. And they use these weaknesses to push you, to make you bend to their will. Have you ever felt like someone was manipulating your decisions by preying on your insecurities? It could be subtle at first, a comment about your appearance, a remark about your career choices, but slowly these tactics grow more insidious. They make you question your worth, your decisions, and your ability to succeed. They want you to feel small so they can feel bigger. They want to make you doubt yourself so you depend on them for validation. They exploit the trust you've placed in them and twist it into control. And the more they succeed, the harder it becomes to see through their manipulation. You begin to feel lost, unsure of who you are or where you're headed. But this is where you have the power to draw a line. Your weaknesses are not liabilities unless you allow others to treat them as such. Think of your heart as a treasure chest. Don't let them pick the lock. Vulnerability is not something to be ashamed of. It's a sign of your humanity, of your ability to connect deeply with others. But just as you wouldn't leave your treasure chest unlocked and exposed, you should be cautious about who you allow access to your inner world. Protect your heart, protect your emotions, and understand that vulnerability should only be shared with those who respect and honor it. When someone tries to use your openness against you, it's not just a violation of your trust. It's a manipulation of your deepest self. Your vulnerability, when guarded and respected, becomes a source of strength, not a weakness to be exploited. Take a moment to reflect on someone who learned to guard their personal information and set boundaries after realizing they were being manipulated. Imagine a person who was once open and trusting, only to find that their past struggles were used against them. After this realization, they started setting clear boundaries, learning to say no when necessary, and being more selective about who they trusted with their heart. Over time, they regained their confidence and self-respect. They stopped allowing others to use their weaknesses to gain control, and in doing so, they discovered the strength to protect their peace and emotional well-being. Setting boundaries isn't about building walls, it's about drawing lines that protect you without shutting you off from the world. It's about ensuring that your vulnerability is seen as a strength, not something to be exploited. Take control of your vulnerabilities, don't let them become your weakness. Learn to identify when someone is using your openness to exploit you. It's essential to take ownership of your vulnerabilities and recognize that you don't owe anyone access to your deepest emotions unless they've earned your trust. Be mindful of those who seem to want to know too much, those who ask probing questions that don't serve the relationship. Sometimes the people who are closest to us are the ones who exploit our vulnerabilities the most. They know our fears, our weaknesses, and they use them to control our decisions, our actions, and even our emotions. But you have the power to take a stand. You don't have to give in to their manipulation. The strength to protect yourself doesn't lie in hiding your weaknesses, but in owning them. You control the narrative of your life. Recognize that your weaknesses are not your enemies. They are part of what makes you who you are, but the key is to embrace them, acknowledge them, and choose when and with whom you share them. Vulnerability is a strength, but only when it is respected, only when it's shared with those who will honor it, not exploit it. You have the power to decide who gets access to your heart, your mind, and your soul. Take that power back, and when you do, you'll find that no one can manipulate you or use your vulnerabilities against you again. You are the author of your own story, and no one has the right to rewrite it for you. Embrace your vulnerabilities, own them, but protect them fiercely. You are not defined by your weaknesses. You are defined by how you choose to protect and empower yourself. By taking control of your vulnerabilities, you take control of your narrative, your relationships, and your peace of mind. Have you ever noticed how someone who wronged you never seems to apologize or take responsibility? Think about it. How often have you been in a situation where the person who hurt you acts like nothing happened, as if their actions were justified, or even worse, tries to make you feel like it's your fault? This kind of behavior is all too common, and it leaves you frustrated and confused. You want answers, you want closure, but instead you're left with an empty apology, or worse, no apology at all. This is one of the signs of toxic behavior, someone who refuses to own up to their actions. It's time we dive deeper into how we protect ourselves from individuals who refuse to take responsibility for their mistakes, and understand how their lack of accountability can poison your relationships and your life. Evil never admits fault. It deflects blame, hides behind excuses, and manipulates others into accepting the consequences of its actions. Let me tell you something. When someone refuses to acknowledge their wrongdoings, it isn't just a slip-up. It's a toxic trait that undermines trust and damages relationships. These individuals will do anything to avoid responsibility, shifting the blame onto others, making you feel guilty for something you didn't do. It's a way for them to protect themselves from the consequences of their actions while you carry the emotional and mental burden. This is their game, and it's one they play very well. They hide behind their excuses, but we know the truth. It's time to shine a light on this behavior and stop letting them get away with it. Toxic individuals will never take accountability for their actions, always shifting the blame onto others to avoid facing their own wrongdoing. These people will lie, manipulate, or downplay their actions in order to maintain control and avoid responsibility. It's not just a matter of not saying sorry, it's about making you feel like you're the one at fault, even when you're the victim. Their goal is to shift the focus away from their actions and onto you, making you question your own role in the situation. This lack of accountability creates a toxic dynamic in relationships, where one person is never able to learn from their mistakes and the other is left picking up the pieces. This cycle of denial and deflection leads to frustration, bitterness, and eventually the breakdown of trust. They are like shadows in the dark, always shifting and never seen clearly. But if you shine a light on their actions, the truth becomes undeniable. Imagine the confusion you feel when someone constantly deflects blame and never admits their wrongs. It's like trying to focus on a shadow that keeps moving in and out of your sight. You know something's off, but you can't quite make it out. The more they deflect, the more your understanding of the situation becomes clouded, and the harder it is to see the truth. But here's the power you have. The moment you decide to shine a light on the situation, the truth becomes clear. Their excuses, their lies, their manipulation, they all become exposed. Once you see them for who they truly are, they lose their power over you. Let's look at a real-life example. Think of a public figure who faced massive backlash after refusing to take responsibility for their actions. Take a look at how their reputation crumbled because they couldn't own up to their mistakes. The public saw them as someone who was never accountable, always making excuses, and deflecting blame onto others. Eventually, the damage was done, the public trust was broken, relationships were strained, and their credibility was tarnished. They could no longer hide behind their excuses. The truth had come to light, and their inability to admit fault led to the downfall of their influence and respect. This is the power of accountability, or the lack of it. Refusing to take responsibility is not only damaging to relationships, but also to one's own sense of integrity. If someone refuses to own their actions, let that be your signal to step away. Don't carry the weight of their mistakes. The first step in protecting yourself from this type of behavior is recognizing it. When someone constantly avoids responsibility and refuses to apologize, it's a clear sign that they are not interested in growth or resolution. They are more concerned with protecting their ego and avoiding consequences. Don't let them drag you down with their excuses. You don't have to carry their burden. You have the power to step away from relationships that demand you shoulder their mistakes. Recognize this pattern and protect yourself by setting boundaries. You deserve better than to be stuck in a cycle of blame shifting and emotional manipulation. Holding yourself accountable is the mark of strength. If they can't do that, don't let them keep you in their web of excuses. The ability to take responsibility for your actions is one of the most powerful qualities a person can have. When you own your mistakes, you learn from them, you grow, and you move forward. But when someone refuses to take responsibility, they prevent any possibility of growth or progress. They stay stuck in their toxic patterns, dragging others down with them. Don't let them. You are in control of your life, and you have the strength to break free from relationships that undermine your growth. Own your actions and demand the same from those around you. And if they can't meet that standard, it's time to let them go. If they can't own their actions, they don't deserve your respect or time. Don't let them control your narrative with their excuses. You have the power to choose who stays in your life. You get to decide who deserves your energy, your time, and your trust. Don't allow anyone to manipulate you into accepting their lack of accountability. By setting boundaries and walking away from toxic behavior, you reclaim your power. You are not a passive participant in this game. They don't get to define your worth or control your story. You own your life, your actions, and your peace. It's time to take that ownership back and stop letting anyone else steal it from you. Recognizing these signs is only the first step. Now that you know how to spot an evil person in your life, it's time to protect your peace. This knowledge isn't just for awareness. It's a shield, a way to safeguard your emotional well-being from those who want to drain, manipulate, and control. You've learned how to spot the manipulators, the deceivers, the critics, and the exploiters. You've uncovered their tactics, and now it's time to take action. Awareness gives you the clarity to see what's really going on, but it's what you do with that clarity that makes the difference. The real power lies in how you respond. No one gets to steal your energy. If they've been manipulating, deceiving, criticizing, exploiting, or avoiding accountability, it's time to take action. I'm here to tell you, you do not have to put up with it. You have the power to protect your peace, to defend your emotional and mental space. You are not meant to be the target of negativity, and you don't owe anyone access to your life or your well-being. Your energy is precious, and it is yours to protect. The moment you allow someone's toxic behavior to seep into your space, you are choosing to give them control over you. But here's the truth, that choice is yours to reverse. You can take back that control, and it starts with setting boundaries. Let me tell you something, it's not enough to just recognize the signs. You must act on them. Take control of your life and your relationships. The power to protect your peace is in your hands. Recognizing toxicity is the first victory, but it's the action you take next that determines your future. The longer you allow someone's toxic influence to remain in your life, the longer you let them dictate your mood, your energy, and your sense of self-worth. Inaction leads to stagnation. If you want to protect your peace, if you want to live a life full of energy, clarity, and joy, you must make the decision to act now. Stand up for yourself, take those crucial steps toward change, and reclaim your life. Every action you take, no matter how small, adds up to a life that's more in tune with your true self, one where negativity has no room to grow. The world is full of beautiful, supportive people. Choose to surround yourself with them. Protect yourself, your energy, and your dreams. Don't let the toxic ones dictate your story. Own it. It's easy to get caught up in toxic relationships, especially when you feel like you're stuck or unable to break free. But here's the truth. You have the power to choose who you allow into your life. The company you keep shapes your life. Choose wisely. Imagine surrounding yourself with people who build you up, who lift you higher, who support your dreams and help you grow. That is the life you deserve. But it all starts with one decision: to protect your peace by choosing your circle carefully. Your life is your story. Don't let anyone else control the narrative. You are the author of your own journey, and the pages of your story are written by the choices you make, the people you allow in, and the energy you allow yourself to consume. You have the power to shape your future by making decisions that protect your peace and protect your dreams. When you stand strong and refuse to let toxic people steal your energy, you create the space for positive, nurturing relationships to thrive. You create the space for growth, for abundance, and for a life that reflects who you truly are. Own your story, own your life, own your peace. The power is in your hands to shape your future and protect your energy. The moment you decide to protect your peace, to take control, is the moment you step into the life you were meant to live. No more allowing toxic people to define your worth. No more being drained by negativity. This is your time, your peace, your life. Own it.